The world sees one war in Ukraine, a brutal conventional battle for territory and survival. Trenches, tanks, artillery, and scarred cities fill the headlines. Armies clash, progress measured in kilometers. This is the war everyone knows, a fight for Ukraine's sovereignty. But there's another war, hidden from view. It's fought in the shadows, deep inside Russian-occupied territory and even within Russia itself. Here, the soldiers are often ordinary people, saboteurs, informants, partisans. Their battlefield is the enemy's rear, their weapons, intelligence, simple tools, and surprise. This is Ukraine's hidden resistance, a critical second front. While the army holds the line, these shadow warriors disrupt supply lines, destroy infrastructure, and spread fear among occupiers. Their actions rarely make headlines, but their impact is profound. Russia is forced to divert resources, guard its back, and question its control. This secret war is a constant drain on Russia's military machine. Every derailed train means fewer supplies for Russian troops. Every act of sabotage behind enemy lines eases the army's burden. Open combat and covert resistance are two sides of the same coin. Both aim to defeat the aggressor and restore Ukraine's freedom. Understanding this dual conflict is key to understanding Ukraine's fight for survival. The story is not just of armies, but of a nation fighting in every shadow and on every street. The visible and invisible wars are deeply connected. Each act of resistance chips away at the occupier's strength. The struggle is relentless, fought by soldiers and civilians alike. Ukraine's fight is not just on the battlefield, it's everywhere. The world must see both wars to grasp the true scale of Ukraine's resistance. This is the full picture of a nation's fight for existence. Who are these shadow warriors? They're not super spies, but ordinary Ukrainians, teachers, mechanics, students, grandparents. Before the invasion, they lived normal lives. Now, they live double lives. By day, they appear to comply. By night, they resist. Driven by love for their country and hatred for the invaders, they risk everything. The resistance isn't a single group, but a decentralized network of small, independent cells. This structure makes them hard to dismantle. If one cell falls, others continue. These groups form organically. Neighbors trust neighbors, friends work with friends. They use encrypted apps and old-fashioned methods to avoid detection. It's a web of trust, built on shared purpose and personal bonds. For many, the fight is personal: loss, destruction, and a refusal to surrender. They gather intelligence, identify collaborators, and carry out acts of defiance. Each act is a statement: Ukraine is alive, even in occupied land. The network extends beyond occupied territories, supported by Ukrainians in free areas and abroad. Funding, equipment, and information flow in from this wider web. Ukraine's military intelligence, HUR, and Special Operations Forces, SSO, coordinate and support these efforts. They provide training, guidance, and resources. But the heart of the resistance is local, small cells on the ground, operating in danger. They are the eyes, ears, and hands of Ukraine's shadow war. Their courage keeps the resistance alive in the darkest places. The network's strength is its invisibility and resilience. Every act, no matter how small, matters. The resistance is a movement of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. In the shadows, Ukraine's spirit endures. The resistance's actions are bold and calculated. One major target, Russia's railway system. In late 2023, Ukrainian agents struck deep in Siberia, detonating explosives in the Severomuysky tunnel, halting traffic and causing chaos. Hours later, a second explosion hit a backup bridge, paralyzing a vital supply route. These were not random attacks, they were precise strikes at Russia's war economy. Sabotage extends beyond railways. Fuel depots, military bases, and administrative buildings are all targets. In cities like Melitopol, car bombs have eliminated collaborators and Russian officials, spreading fear. The psychological impact is immense. Occupiers and their allies live in constant paranoia. Partisans contaminate fuel, disable vehicles, and use drones to strike equipment. They guide Ukrainian artillery and missiles to high-value targets, as seen in the Saki airbase strike. Every act, big or small, makes occupation costly for Russia. The goal: make the occupation untenable. The resistance's reach is long and its message is clear: nowhere is safe for the invader. Sabotage is the heartbeat of Ukraine's shadow war. Behind many daring operations are Ukraine's Special Operations Forces, or SSO. This elite branch leads the national resistance, reformed after Russia's 2014 invasion. SSO soldiers are experts in sabotage, intelligence, and direct action. They train, equip, and often lead partisan cells behind enemy lines. Their training is intense: explosives, covert communications, survival. Western partnerships have modernized their tactics and gear. SSO agents blend into civilian populations, building secret networks and executing complex missions. They manage the National Resistance Program, organizing and supporting civilian resistance. Through this, they recruit, train, and coordinate local cells. SSO acts as the central nervous system, turning isolated acts into a powerful campaign. They also conduct their own high-stakes missions, raids, rescues, and intelligence gathering. The SSO's expertise, combined with local passion, makes the resistance formidable. Together, they are Ukraine's shadow army. Ukraine's shadow war has unexpected allies inside Russia itself. Some Russian citizens, including ethnic minorities and anti-war activists, work against their own government. They act as informants, leaking troop movements and sensitive documents to Ukrainian intelligence. This inside information is crucial for planning sabotage and guiding strikes. Groups like the Freedom of Russia Legion and Siberian Battalion, made up of Russians, fight alongside Ukrainians and conduct cross-border raids. Their existence shatters the Kremlin's narrative of unity and forces Moscow to defend its own borders. Russian saboteurs and informants create paranoia within the state, making it harder for the government to trust its own people. The Kremlin's security services are stretched thin, hunting for enemies everywhere. This internal division is a strategic weakness Ukraine exploits. The support from within Russia amplifies the impact of the shadow war. Even in the heart of Russia, resistance grows. The shadow war's impact goes far beyond physical destruction. Every act of sabotage sends a message. The war is everywhere, even in Russia's heartland. This undermines the Kremlin's narrative and brings the conflict home to ordinary Russians. For Russian soldiers, the threat of partisans is a constant source of fear and stress. Commanders must divert troops to guard duties, stretching resources thin. Collaborators live in fear, named, targeted, and often assassinated. This collaboration tax cripples Russia's ability to govern occupied territories. The resistance shapes the international narrative, proving Ukraine's will to fight. Stories of defiance inspire global support and reinforce the case for aid. The shadow war is a national struggle, not just a military one. Ukraine's resilience is its greatest weapon. The world sees a nation that refuses to surrender. Russia's response to the resistance is brutal. The FSB and National Guard enforce harsh security, checkpoints, curfews, house searches. Surveillance and informants hunt for resistance cells. Suspects face detention, torture, and forced confessions. Filtration camps screen civilians. Many disappear. The goal: intimidate the population into submission. Inside Russia, new laws punish dissent with long prison terms. State media brands opponents as traitors, fueling fear. Despite repression, sabotage continues. Crackdowns haven't extinguished resistance. The hunt for saboteurs drains Russian resources and reveals the fragility of its control. Ruling by fear is a sign of weakness, not strength. The iron fist breeds more anger, fueling the cycle of resistance. The more Russia cracks down, the more the resistance grows. Ukraine's resistance roots run deep, shaped by years of preparation since 2014. The annexation of Crimea was a wake-up call. Ukraine began building its resistance network. When the full-scale invasion came, these networks activated instantly, disrupting Russia's advance. Years of training and planning gave Ukraine a critical edge. The resistance has evolved, better equipped, trained, and coordinated. With continued support, their capabilities will only grow. The shadow war ensures Russia can never securely hold Ukrainian territory. The cost of occupation remains high: soldiers, resources, and political capital. The resistance proves Ukraine's unbreakable will to be free. Even if frontlines freeze, the fight continues in the shadows. Ukraine's fire for freedom will not be extinguished until the last occupier leaves.